Owen. Hey y'all.
Hey y'all, we're back with another episode. It's been a minute, man.
Yeah, the last thing, it was the Bible study. That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, just trying to get adjusted into these new lifestyles and transition.
Now we now we gotta talk about the topic. That was
Yeah, but Camille, did you want to kick us off?
Oh,
I mean, you had a
okay.
new little thing you wanted to introduce on the pod.
Oh yeah. I thought you meant with the topic. I was like, wait, how are we just gonna rush right into it? But yeah, something I do want to start doing is just talking about what worship songs we are currently listening to. And then hopefully, if y'all like what we have said, you can add it to your playlist. 'Cause I know a lot of people they're probably like trying to build their own playlist, or maybe sometimes you listen to the same stuff and you're like, I need to switch it up a little bit. We
Right.
got you. So I will say this week, I've been listening to two songs on repeat. The first one is Nobody Greater by Vashawn Mitchell, but it's a medley. So it's Nobody Greater and Name Above All Names.
Those are
Yeah,
good.
I 10 out of 10 recommend. Vashawn was in his bag with that one.
He's
And then,
always in his bag.
yeah, for real. And that's like, I don't know, Vashawn Mitchell, that was like when I was elementary school. That's who I grew up on. Like, on my way to church, youth choir, we were singing Vashawn Mitchell songs. And then I will also add that this song I just recently been playing nonstop from yesterday and today. Yahweh by Mali Music, um, or Molly Music. A lot of people have different renditions of that one, but so far I like his version. But that's what I'm currently listening to. Diane, what are you listening to?
Well, today and yesterday was King of Glory since we're dancing to that tonight. But before
Mm.
that, Jordan G really in her bag. Like Jordan G, bro.
That album,
The
Live
whole
from
album
Atlanta,
is fire. But I've
that
really been
one.
on Forever Yahweh and him medley. Those two I've been on. And
Mm.
then I just saw the other day she dropped all the songs in ASL. So like she has an interpreter interpreting the song. Jordan G is just that girl.
Whoa, that's
She's that
so
girl.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I really
it's
like her
not me
stuff.
shining and stuff when I listen to the song, but it's cool to have like the full song. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I also like Open the Eyes of My Heart by Jordan G. Welch.
I don't know if I've
That
heard
was such, man, it started playing. I don't know. I think I just started like playing music, and this was the first one that came up. That was such a, if you just want to lift up your hands and just sit in God's glory, that, that song, that'll get you right. Uh, but anyways, yeah, I just wanted to start off the pod with just introducing new stuff before we dive into our topic. Cheyenne.
Great. So our topic today is seeking God in the face of transition. How do we still seek God? What does transition look like? What emotions come with transition? Just transition. So I guess we can begin with obviously both of us are in a season of transition or were in seasons of transition recently, moving to new school, moving to new cities, like just adjusting to new life. So we can start off by saying what our period of transition was and like what we moved from into. Camille?
Hmm. Okay. I would say, so I actually had two transitions. So the biggest one, graduating from Spelman. So yes, like we graduated. This is in May. We all cloud nine. Everybody excited. We all,
Yeah.
man, what a time! A time was had. Absolutely loved it. Then I moved back to Maryland. So that was the first transition. And as I'm moving back to Maryland this past summer, I had already declared that this summer was going to be a summer of rest. but old me was saying it like, yeah, 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 I'm just gonna rest, I'm gonna rest. And I just kept I had potential opportunities. I could have been making money, but God was like, yeah, you're gonna rest. No, no job. No job. Nope, nope, nope. So this is the first time I haven't worked in the summer since I was like 15. Like as soon as I got my first job, I worked every single summer. So not only was I just moving back home, getting into the swing of things, but I was moving into a space of rest. And I've been a person who I like to say like on go. So I'm always like on to the next thing. So when I was called to rest, it was easier to say that a few months ago, but now when I was in it, I was like, oh wait, you really meant like don't do anything. And sometimes I be thinking God is joking, but he's not joking. So that was a beautiful time for me. I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it well because I like to be doing stuff. Like I was like, I don't know if I could just sit and do nothing. I mean, I went on some trips and stuff, so I wasn't doing like absolutely nothing. But I enjoyed the rest so much. I didn't know how much I needed it. So for the past 3 months, I was not only like physically resting, like the amount of sleep that I got this summer is just unfathomable because I'm like, dang, I really was missing out. I was really catching up on some sleep. I was reading for pleasure. I was also like in my word a lot. I'm always in my word, but like I was able to like really dedicate some more time, spending good chunks of my day like with God. Like I'm talking 2+ hours, 3 hours. And I like on the regular, I can't always do that. Like, I
Right.
mean, maybe if I woke up at 4 or 5 in the morning, maybe. But I didn't do that during the school year. So this was nice to just be able to do that. I was very intentional with the relationships I was not cultivating, but well, yes, cultivating, but then also maintaining like in the summer, being away. This is the first time that like man this summer like really like of course I go away for the summer, but all my friends at Spelman like we're not gonna come back this school year, so that was a little bit different. So yeah,
Teardrop.
that was teardrop, yeah. um that was something that I was doing this summer, and I loved it. Like I felt like I saw the Lord in new ways. I was also tested in new ways because I was preparing for the next season I was entering, and I'm like, all right, God, like this is cool and all, like we keep keying together, but things are getting serious. Bills are due. So what we about to do? So that was also something else I was working on with the Lord. I'm seeing him as a provider in that way, and what does that look like? So that was a main transition for the summer, a period of rest, a period of I think preparing me for the surrender. And I knew one of the words
Mm.
for this year like was prayer and surrender. And earlier in the year, like I I recognized where that was gonna come up, but this summer, there's something about the latter half of the year that God's like, all right,
Yeah, bro.
I'm
I
about to do
agree.
something, but I'm also remember what I told you at the beginning of the year. Like this is about to be a year of not just surrender, but submission. I think those are two big things that the Lord was working with me on, definitely in the beginning, but now I'm seeing it more right now. So that was the summer. We had a good time. It was fun. Now, the next transition that I'm currently in is going to law school and moving. So I'm from Maryland, so I moved to DC. So it's not like I moved very far, but it's my first time for real, living in DC. Like I have family in DC. I've been plenty of times. I had internships in DC, but I never lived in DC. So this is something that's different. And it's a different city than being in Atlanta. So just although I'm in a city environment, everything is new right now. And then on top of that, I'm starting law school. Like I'm not just in DC just to be like, oh, new city, whatever. No, like I'm in school and it's very different. The learning environment is unlike an environment I've been in before. Uh, and I had to get used to like demographics again because going to Spelman's HBCU, not only a HBCU, we are the number one. And I'm going to Georgetown, so that is a predominantly white institution.
Right.
So everybody don't really look like me, so that's different. But growing up, like K through 12, I grew up in like white spaces, so that didn't like bother me. It just like I had to get used to it again, being in an academic setting. So there was that. And there was also just I'm now in classrooms where there's a lot of people in there. And I found myself, I'm in week 2, and I found myself, wow, like I've been sitting in my classes silent. And if you know me, like I always participate
That's
in class.
crazy,
Like
bro.
I just like I usually this was like it felt so weird. One, because like the teaching style, sometimes like they'll cold call you, so they're only trying to talk to specific people. And then occasionally when they open it up to people to respond, the first week I didn't even know what to say. So I'm like, man, I didn't even raise my hand because I was like, oh, I couldn't even add to the conversation. The second week, I've been raising my hand a little bit more and participating, but I was like, man, like, what's going on? Because me, like, I'm always participating in class. My professors know me. Like, that's just the type of student I am. But being in this new space, I was like, oh, I actually don't know the answer. And I don't want to sound wrong in front of 100 people. So I'm going to just keep my thoughts to
There's a
myself.
lot of people.
Yeah, that one of my classes is 100. The other one, my classes are around like 40 people. So it's not like they split us up into smaller classes. So it's not too bad. And then of course adjusting to the workload, like I'm reading a lot. It's a lot of reading. They ask like, Camille, what are you doing reading? That's my life now. I'm just reading cases, preparing for class. That's all I do. I have one class where I have actual assignments, but in law school, your grade is really your final. Sometimes you get a midterm, but really everything builds up to the final. So you're not really doing stuff to turn in, but it really becomes on you to make sure you're prepared. So yeah, being in a new learning environment, there's that. I don't know too many people here, so making new friends and trying to build that community, but not just any community. I want a godly community. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Those are the two transitions I just experienced. And yeah,
It's a
I'm
lot of
still thriving
change.
though. So I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. So I thank God for that.
Great. So, yeah, similar to Cami, obviously graduated from number one HBCU for 18 years. Bro. I don't know
Go
why
ahead,
people
let them know.
like.
Let them know.
I don't know why that's such a controversial thing for people, but like
I don't
it's
know.
just a fact. Like I don't really get it. But anyway, Spelman College is the number one HBCU held in a housed in Atlanta, Georgia. In case you're a little confused. Um, but yeah, so graduated from Spelman. Obviously, that was a big transition. Like the fact that I'm not going back to school, or that I didn't go back to school August 18th or whatever day they started, is crazy. So that was just a big transition mentally, obviously physically, because I'm not going back there. But mentally, just like college is over and it seems like it just started.
Nah, for
So
real. It does go
yeah,
by fast.
yeah, it went by very fast. So, yeah, that and then the summer was definitely a summer of rest. I was trying to like maybe get a job, maybe, make some extra money, but that just didn't happen. I was just traveling a lot, resting, like a job just wasn't for me, just like it wasn't for me in college. So praise God for that because He's really a sustainer. Yeah, like I know there are people that have to work and things like that, and so all like commends to you, I guess if that's the
Hmm.
word. Because
Kudos,
there are a lot of
kudos.
people. Yeah, kudos. That's there it is. There are people who like have to work and stuff. So kudos to those who can do work and school because like
That's not for the weak. It's hard to do
that's
one.
not for me. You're a strong person for that, so shout out to you. But yeah, so the summer was like resting. I was traveling a lot, bro. Like I don't
You
know
was
I
busy.
don't know
Did
how I was
not stay
traveling so
home.
much, but like I was gone. So yeah, that was that. Now we move into like school year, transitioning the same from HBCU to PWI. I definitely thought was going to be a hard transition, but there are a lot of black students at PCOM, and it's actually very diverse with like different cultures, different nationalities, things like that. So it's not a super big adjustment. It's kind of just like me going back to high school because my high school was the number one diverse high school in Colorado. So like it's kind of the same thing there, being around different cultures, different people, which is still cool, getting to know different people and stuff like that. So it hasn't been a super hard transition from HBCU to PWI. I think that might hike up for med school, but yeah, for now it's cool. But yeah, so moved to Swanee, Georgia. It's like an hour away from Atlanta. Not too far, but it's still a new city. Like I still don't know anybody out here. And I'm not going to Atlanta every single day. So like it's definitely an adjustment, it's definitely a transition. Like got my first apartment, like everything is
Woo!
just bro. Everything is just happening like so fast. And so this has definitely been a, I don't want to say hard season of transition, but challenging. Just going from what you know and comfortability to going to what you don't know and uncomfortable. And
Mm,
so in all of
it's
this,
good.
like, yeah, I found myself just very like frustrated, annoyed, like, bro, I'm not trying like Swanee is not that far, but I'm not trying to move down there. Like, I don't know nobody, bro. Like, I don't want to be on my own. And so yeah, it's just transition can be a lot, but it's good. Like all of this is producing growth, all of this is for a good reason, all of this is producing better results, so it's definitely needed and necessary. Transition is definitely needed and necessary, but definitely want to acknowledge the fact that it is a lot. So yeah. So
That's
yeah, here
good.
we are.
I'm glad you said that it's needed and necessary, and you also talked about growth. And something that I've said plenty of times on this podcast, but something that I've just learned is that in order to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. Like comfortability does not produce growth. You will just remain where you are. And I just feel as though if we are a people who are wanting God to do more with us, and we're asking the Lord for more, more, more. Like it's going to require something of us, but we can't be the same person we were who was asking it versus the person who's going to be actually in it. And that transition to get to what you asked and you receiving it, that is where that's the preparation. That's where all the change is going to happen. That's where all the shaping and the molding, if you allow God to. And I think sometimes the transition can be harder if you keep resisting God, or if you keep resisting the fact that like I don't want to move, so I'm not going to move. Like if you had that mindset, like I could just drive an hour every day, like I could just do that. Like if you were being stubborn, like it's gonna be very hard. And even for me, like it's not a if I just kept being stubborn and I kept complaining about the same thing, like God, it's just not making any sense. It just doesn't, like, why can't this work out? Why can't I do it like this? And what I'm asking God is, why can't I stay comfortable? Why do I have to keep being uncomfortable? I don't like it. And I've just learned, like, okay, one, you're not gonna do everything that you like, but because I'm uncomfortable, I'm about to experience a tremendous amount of growth. So
Yeah.
I think when you flip your mindset and shift it to one, I'm shifting it towards God, like, okay, God, I don't know nobody in this school. I don't know nobody in this city. It's just you and me. So, but when I focus on you, everything else is going to fall into place. So I think this is also a time, going back to what I said, surrender and submission, like, okay, I got to submit to your plan and I have to surrender to your will, because it's your will, your way. It's not your will, my way, because that can't work.
That's good. Yeah. Going back to what you're talking about, like driving an hour every day. Yeah, I told God, like, bro, you're gonna have to figure this housing thing out. The first one, first apartment didn't work out. So we went through the process again. And I was like, there is no other option. It's this apartment or is this apartment. Because I'm not driving first of all, I'm not driving an hour every day just to get to class. And I'm not driving 30 minutes every day if I do like student housing downtown. I'm not doing either one of those. So it's this apartment in Swanee or it's this apartment in Swanee. And so there was never a moment, and thank God for that. Like there was never a moment in that process where I was like anxious or worried about if I was going to get an apartment, because I've been in this situation before where I didn't have housing and God came through. So literally just feasting on and remembering his past faithfulness, like we've seen this giant before of no housing, like he's going to provide a way. So I'm good. So that was really cool to just see how I kind of handled that and how he was there in every step of that. And then I also think like we just have to, especially in transition, we have to see like the small wins or the
Mm,
that God is literally manifesting his promises and showing up. Like literally, I'm saying I don't know anybody in Swanee and I don't, but when I came to Accepted Students Day for PCOM a few months ago, I literally met two girls and we connected. Like we're cool. So it's not like I went to PCOM and just didn't know anybody at all first day of class. No, like I already connected with them. We were talking over the summer. Like it was cool. So I can't miss those small ways that God like provided, I guess,
mm.
ship and like yeah, provided companionship for me. So yeah, yeah. Sometimes we just miss like the small ways that he shows up in transition. So yeah. I also wanted to bring up a few examples of transition in the Bible. And so
Go
like
ahead. Take
so
us to the word.
there are a lot of periods of transition in the Bible, obviously, like all over from the Old Testament to New Testament. Um,
Hmm.
so a few of the negative ones. Well, I'll start with the first one. The first one that came to mind when I thought about like who had a transition in the Bible was Ruth. That's what I thought of, Ruth and Naomi. And
Oh,
so Ruth,
I
like
forgot
her
about my
husband
girl.
died. Her husband died. Her sister Oprah left her. She was going to transition to a whole new city and culture. So she was going from Moab to Bethlehem with Naomi, and yet and still still chose to go with Naomi. Like they were, her and her sister Oprah were literally weeping and crying because Naomi was going to leave them. And instead of Ruth staying in that like mournful state, she was like, nah, I'm gonna just go with you. Like, I'm gonna take care of you. Like, we're gonna be good. So that was a positive example of transition. Now, when we look at Naomi's side, she didn't really take transition well. Like, her husband died and she had to move back to her native land. And when she got there, she literally was like, don't call me Naomi anymore, call me Mara. Because
Hmm.
I'm bitter. Like the Lord has not dealt with me well. And so we can see like that season of transition for her, she didn't really handle it that well. Just based on the fact that she changed her whole name. Names were a big, big thing back then. So for you to call yourself bitter based on what happened to you is like, oh girl, you're not taking this well at all. So kind of
Hmm.
just to see those two contrasts in the book of Ruth in Ruth 1 was really cool. And then we can go to like another negative one is like the Israelites in Exodus 16 when they were going
Hmm.
from Egypt to Canaan. And they were literally complaining. Like at first they were down with it, like, oh, cool, he split the sea, like we went through, cool. But then they got to a place in the book where they were like, bro, we could have just died there. Like you could have just left.
Yeah.
And so again, another negative example of or I guess another example of how transition wasn't really taken well. Like God was literally trying to shift them to purpose, literally trying to shift
Hmm.
them into his plan for them and what he had for them. And they were like, nah, like you could have just left us where we were. And this is not to like talk down about them because we've as humans, we do the same things. Like, bro, you could have just left me there. I didn't need this. But that again is another like something that we can learn from them, like
Wait,
what not to do.
before you continue, you just reminded me something. Because I was the first thing I thought when I was transitioning, I was like, shoot, the Israelites. This is a great example of what it feels like to transition. But you were kind of alluding to it, but I think they're an example of sometimes we think like we compare where we are now to where we used to be, like, because they were like,
Mhm.
Lord, like
That's
it
good.
was better when we were in they thought
Yep.
slavery was better. And I just want to read, so I'm in Numbers 11, um verses 1 through 6, real quick y'all, because my pastor was just preaching about this like a couple weeks ago at home. Okay, I'm in NKJV. The people complained. That's what it's called. Now, when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, for the Lord heard it, and his anger was aroused. So the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed some in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people cried out to Moses, and when Moses prayed to the Lord, the fire was quenched. So
Mm.
he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord had burned among them. Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. So the children of Israel also wept again and said, who will give us meat to eat? We remember the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our whole being is dried up. There is nothing at all except this manna before our eyes. And I'm gonna stop there. And the thing about like my pastor just talking about like remembering like the manna, and the Israelites thought this manna was like it's just a little piece of bread, but manna was a symbol. This is like miracle bread, because there was a point in time when God only gave them enough from what they needed for that day.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it was to trust him. Like they couldn't store up. He said, don't do that. Because the people who did do that, he made them food moldy. He made them sick. He did all these things. He was like, you need to trust me that I will provide for you each and every day. And that just goes back to like when you think of the daily prayer, give us this day our daily bread. Like we need it daily. His grace and mercies are anew daily. They're fresh daily. So that was what the manna was all about. But the Israelites, they were like, man, what happened to the meat? When we were enslaved, God, we used to have fish, we used to have cucumbers, we used to have garlic and onion. Like, where's the flavor? Where's the seasoning? Like, it gets to a point like where the enemy will really try to convince you that where you were is better than where you're going.
Woo!
So, and I think
That's
that
good.
when you're in this transition, especially before that, in between that, waiting before like the promise is fulfilled and when
Yep.
God told you. So like God told the Israelites, I'm bringing you to the promised land. They haven't made it to the promised land yet. They took a 3-day journey turned into 40 years because of their complaints. And as they're trying to transition through this wilderness, they're complaining along the way, and they're thinking about like, this is too hard, Lord. I don't want this anymore. Take me back. And like something like my pastor was saying how like I'd rather have like crumbs from heaven than a steak from the enemy. Like
Mhm.
thinking about how sometimes we just what you used to be and who you used to be, where you were, is not better than where God is taking you. Because if He's taking you to someplace new, He has more for you. Whether that's like a new relationship, a new place, a new environment. I think sometimes we cling so hard to the past because we think this is the best it will ever be. But no, because if we do that, we have a limited view of God. Like if God is calling you out of a place, there is more for you. It's not, it's going to be better. It may not look like how you want it to look like. And eventually they make it to the promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey, but they had to sit
It
with
was
this manna.
generation.
Yeah, a
Amen.
whole generation, but you have to appreciate the manna that I'm giving you right now. And just even when Cheyenne was talking about earlier, when she said like God was already kind of like helping her along the way, like I met people before, and sometimes we forget the that where God is showing up in our lives, especially in the mundane, like when it doesn't seem like it's this spectacular, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden $10,000 dropped into my bank account and I have no idea where the money came from, like nothing but God. Like that can certainly happen. But there's also times when like God is sending people along the way. And I think we forget about those small moments because it's so small, but nothing is too small for God. Like He cares about the intimate details of your life. So when you don't have to worry about what clothes you about to wear, when you don't have to worry about um the classes you got to do, like stuff like that, like there are little things and God will show you, reveal Himself to you. And I encourage everyone to like have that be their prayer, like, Lord, reveal yourself to me today, even in the mundane, like in places where I'm going to miss you. Like I want you to show up. and it could be something like you looking at a tree and think about God, you're looking at the sky and think about like there's so many, everything is not going to be this hoop and holler like spectacular thing, because if you think that's the only way God will move, you're gonna miss God. That's all I have to
That's
say.
good.
You
Yeah.
gotta be mindful of your complaints.
Yeah, when we look at the Israelites' journey, that was roughly supposed to take about 2 weeks. And it took 40 days, 40 years, not 40 days, 40 years.
Years.
365 times 40 is 14,600. How do we go from 11 days, roughly 11 days, to 14,000 days? Like, when we look at that, it's just like we have to sit and study, what can our complaining do? Like,
Mm,
how much can our complaining hold back time?
that's
How
good.
much can our complaining create a delay? Like, we're praying about no delay, Lord, break the delay, da 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 da, which is great, but you're still doing things that will cause delay. Like, your complaining is causing a delay because
Hmm.
your outlook is not like, okay, we're getting there, we're going. You're just complaining the whole
Yeah.
time where you can't see the small ways that God is moving for you. So
Hmm.
as you said, even with like the manna that he would provide for them, they're like, bruh, like I don't want this.
Okay,
Like
I want
I
the
don't.
fish.
And
I
instead
want
of
the
them
meat. Yeah.
appreciating it for 2 short weeks, they turned it into something else that it didn't even have to be. So yeah, yeah,
That's
that was
good.
good. Yeah. Two other examples I was gonna bring up. One more negative is Peter in Acts 10. When the Lord had given
Mm.
him the vision to now go, like, they didn't communicate with Gentiles. Jews didn't communicate with Gentiles. Like, they weren't circumcised. They didn't follow Jewish traditions, so they just didn't communicate with them. But the Lord gave
Hmm.
Peter a vision and said, like, now go to them, go and basically prepare the way for Paul, to, evangelize to the Gentiles, to let them know who I am so they can be saved. And Peter was like, nah, I'm
That's
not
not
doing
from
that.
you.
You said it was unclean. So I'm not going back to that. And so what we can, it wasn't, I mean, it kind of was a negative example of transition, but when you go deeper into the story, you see how it turned out so beautifully. And Peter was just really, he was really shocked by the fact that, like, the Gentiles are experiencing the same things we are. Like, the way that we're speaking in tongues, they're speaking in tongues right now. Like, how is this happening? So I don't think his was necessarily like, no, I'm not doing that because I don't want to. His was like, I'm not doing that because you said it was unclean. And the Lord had to kind of just shift his mindset on that and, like, no, I'm now transitioning to something else. Get with me, or I'll use somebody else, basically. And so,
Hmm.
yeah. And then another positive example of transition was Joseph. Joseph had like rough life, bro.
Amen.
In
From pit
Genesis
to
41, like,
palace.
everything was just like his own family betrayed him. But even in that, when he got to leadership in Egypt, when he was the second in command, he was like, don't even worry about it. Like, God used it for my good. And even
Hmm.
throughout the story, we can see how Joseph still leaned on God. Like, the fact that he was able to interpret their dreams and not take the credit for himself, but say, interpretation of dreams comes from God. Like, this
Yeah.
is a God thing that I'm about to do for you. So we can just
Yeah.
see how God was still threaded in his life, even through his periods of transition. So that's just a really, really good story to study, to just see how he handled everything. Like, he could have even fallen into sin and like messing with Potiphar's wife, but he was like, nah, like, I'm gonna
Nah,
flee
he
from that. Like,
flee. He
everything
took
he
off.
did still honored God, and it still showed
Mm.
us like his heart in transition was really like, I just gotta trust on God. I gotta lean on God. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
That's really good. I think what you just said, I'm just when you go through transitions, they're not always going to be easy. Like sometimes, like for some people, moving to a new city is fun. Like that's exciting. For some people, it's not. So whatever you're going through, there can be sometimes where it's challenging, but looking at the example of Joseph, even in the challenge, he still honored God, because you either can honor God or you could like,
yep.
say forget him, like,
I
or
just turn
you
it
could
into
start complaining, you can start doing this, you can start. um acting like you don't know who you are, especially when you come into a new city. And I feel like sometimes when people interact with different people, I'm just thinking of like, especially like going to a new school. I'm just gonna say college, for example. Sometimes people try to reinvent themselves, and they like, yes, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna do this. You didn't even do that when you were in high school. Like, you weren't even like, what? Where does this even like come from? So I feel like sometimes when we go into new spaces and new things, sometimes we try to reinvent the wheel
Mm,
as if like we don't know better. And you still want to make sure you're honoring God every step of the way because
mm,
he's the one bringing you through it, and to it. Like he takes us to transition, he's also gonna bring us through it.
that's good.
So I think it's just remembering uh this is still for his glory at the end of the day. And like, I love how humble Joseph was. Like every time, like even when he's sharing like these dreams with people, and when he's interpreting the dreams, he sat in prison for 13 years. And he told the people like, "Yeah, don't forget about me." They forgot about him for 2 years. And then they're like, "Oh, wait. There's this guy like who can interpret the dreams." So that's how he's able to be free. But he could have sat in resentment. He could have been like, "No, now you want me? No, I'm gonna just sit here. I'm gonna stay imprisoned.
Mm,
I'm going to stay here," when literally freedom was on the other side. Like,
right.
I just think sometimes we get so close-minded in like where we are, and we start to like forget who we are and whose we are. So yeah, don't forget the foundation you were like brought up on. Or like, I think sometimes we also think that we don't know enough. Like,
Mm,
especially like if you're going through your journey with God, this could be something like very new. Maybe you didn't grow up in a Christian home. Maybe no one in your family really is supportive of this by any means. So you're kind of navigating something new. But just think back on the times. I think when you just think about over your life and like keeping a record of just the many testimonies that God has brought you through, that He's
yeah.
protected you from certain things. And when you know that, like, maybe you don't know the exact scripture to call on, but you know, like, this isn't right. Like, I feel like I'm not supposed to be doing this because, like, the same feeling you had when you were doing it in the past, remember that feeling because you're like, hold on, actually didn't feel right. Like, it may have brought some instant gratification, but afterwards I felt terrible. Remember that. So then when you go into this new space, you're not just going buck wild, like as if God didn't tell you before. Even if you didn't know who God was before, he was still seeking after you. And you have to like, just when you just take time to pause and reflect on like, what were those times that like God was telling me, like he was protecting me from this? Like he would, those little feelings that like the whole like, well, your gut, that's not your gut. It's not no intuition. Like it literally is the Lord seeking after you.
That's good. Very good. I had a question.
Oh,
What does the transition period pull out of us? In your opinion,
mm,
good, bad? If you're not ready, I can start.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is pride.
Bro, chill.
Were you about to say pride? Were you about to say pride? Ah, no, because I think about this that we're always going to go through some ebbs and flows of transitions because like that's just how life is. Even if it's not something like crazy big or major, it could just be something a little bit smaller. And it's prideful for us to think that we don't have to go where God is telling us, or like do it in the way that God is telling us, that we think that our way is better. And a lot of the stuff that we do is rooted in pride. And I think the point of transition, a point of that is where I'm taking you to somewhere new, where I'm shaping and molding you, is so I can wring out the pride in you. Um, yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Is like, man, how prideful are we to think that like, well, I don't gotta do this. God,
That's
I can do it my way. My way is better. As if I know the end from the beginning. As if I know like what's truly best for my life. Like, I only know myself for 22 years. God knew me before I was even formed in my mother's womb. Like,
good.
hello?
Yeah, pride is good. Yeah, when I think of the transition period, I think of a test. Like it's a test. And
Mm,
basically, he wants to see how you're going to react. And so sometimes it can pull out frustration, anxiety, nervousness. You can be excited, you can be overwhelmed. Like there are just so many emotions that can come out. That's why we can't live based on our emotions. Like because they
yeah.
can shift so easily. But I think the things that we learn from transition, and the things that come out of it is like our faith in God is built. We understand God's strength in our lives. We understand His peace even better because peace is not the absence of the situation, but it's God's presence in the situation. So, though I'm going through a season of transition, I'm experiencing your peace in an even greater way. People who aren't going through can't really
Mm,
experience peace because
yeah.
peace is God's presence in calamity. So if you're not experiencing any calamity, how do you have peace? Because
Hello.
peace is not the absence of calamity.
Yeah.
So peace, awareness of his presence and your sensitivity to him increases. And you just get a deeper revelation of him as Jireh and him and his provision.
Hmm. That is so good. The verse of the day today was Exodus 33:15. And I'll read the verse. It says, Then he said to him, If your presence doesn't go with us, do not bring us up here. This is Moses talking to God. And God is saying, like, okay, we're about to move from this area. And Moses was like, okay, it's cool to go to the promise or whatever, but like truly, if you're not there, we don't want to go
We
because
don't need to go.
God was getting upset at the Israelites, like, okay, like y'all keep complaining, y'all keep defiling me, y'all keep worshiping all these other idols. I won't go with you there. And then Moses is like, hold on. I don't want to go if you're not there. I don't care what's on the other side. Like if your presence isn't there, I don't want to go. So that was the verse, and that's a little bit of the context. And I was watching the video, which I 10 out of 10 recommend, like the
Yeah,
breakdown the
for
video.
sure.
And the devotional afterwards, I wrote down this quote, and it says, "Peace doesn't come with knowing the plan; it comes from knowing He is with us in it."
Mhm.
And I think sometimes people feel more at peace when they're in control, but really, when you have to be in control, I think it just raises more anxiety because you have to worry about
Yes.
all these little like moving pieces.
Like,
And yeah, it may feel a little bit more comfortable, but are you truly at peace? Because like I feel like you're worried about the next step. But when you know that like, okay, I can sit comfortably and know that like I don't have all the answers. I don't know what exactly is next, but I know the person who knows what's next. And I trust the person who knows what's next. So I can follow the person who knows what's next. Like, who am I to try to like take lead?
that's
That
good.
would be the blind leading the blind. Like, why would I do that when there's someone who has a perfect track record, has never let me down, remains faithful even when I am not faithful. He remains faithful. He continues to love me even when times when I did not love him back. He continues to provide for me. He continues to just keep replenishing and restoring me. He continues to wake me up. Even if
Yep, yep.
y'all, it's just like he sees so much more in me. He sees so much greater in me. He continues to use me in his plan. Even when I don't invite him to my plans, he's still like, I still want you a part of it. Like this is the God we serve, that he's so perfect that through my imperfections, like I can never really do enough. So who am I to try to lead my life when the perfect author and creator of my life and everyone's lives wants to lead it? He's literally giving you like the cheat codes. He's just like, follow me. I'll give you the answers. I'll show you the way. I am the way. Like,
Yep.
like,
Yeah,
that was
that's
good.
good. Very good. I mean, I don't have
That's all I
anything else
had.
on that. That was very good. I think we can all just sit and I would challenge you all to sit and reflect like, am I in a season of transition or have I just come out of one? And if you just came out of one, what did you learn? And if you're in one, how can you slow yourself down and see how God is in this?
Slow down, slow down. Another worship song I'll add in there is Slow Me Down. I feel like I've said it before in another
By
episode,
who?
but it's by Charles Weems, I think. I think that's his name. But yeah, yep, Charles Weems, Slow Me Down. Um, yeah, God, I don't want to miss you. Wherever you are, reveal yourself to me in this present moment.
Yeah.
That's the prayer.
Well, this was great. Transition is something that everyone experiences, and it can definitely be a lot. But we can pull from the positive examples of transition in the Bible, and really just remember God's past faithfulness. Like, if you're facing the same type of situation that you have before, you've already beat this Goliath. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was great. This was God. We'll see y'all in the next episode. Continue being a light.
Bye, y'all.